Good evening, everyone. It is October 15th, 2023, and this is going to be both a weekly outlook and just a plan for tomorrow. Now, what we've been seeing is just the same of what we've had for weeks now. I think it's been 5 or 6 weeks of just these weak daily covers and then these heavy sell volumes. Once again, you can see this on the S&P. Strong volume on that initial short covering session. I think that's during NFP, but the subsequent sessions putting in some pretty mediocre volume and now getting ramping volumes as we took out after getting a high close, taking out the lows, and then with a continuation again on Friday. And I think Thursday was CPI, and Friday may have been an event. I can't recall, but in general, the commitment of traders report was showing that individuals on the ES futures, on the S&P futures, they are a little bit crowded to the long side. Same with the Nasdaq. People seem to be crowded to the long side. Not getting the most voluminous sell over on the Nasdaq, getting a little bit of action, but we're still above last week's low. We closed above that low. Russell fell apart heavily. Clean that chart up. There you go. Already came back below that weekly open and low there and came right back to the lows of the month. Unsurprising given the continued interest rate rally. Dow. The Dow has been the most interesting with the fact that the short positions in the Dow, I believe, is the biggest that we've had in I think 10 years. So this thing is short at the wazoo. If the war were to escalate, I imagine the Dow would start pumping quite a bit. There are some what would be the right word? Some military-based equities in the Dow. So this thing would have room to the upside as we would squeeze 34,400, 35,000. All those sort of numbers wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world. So overall, we're in this position where the Dow is super short. The Russell's getting absolutely clobbered. These small caps with the interest rates rallying. Nasdaq and the S&P are both a little bit crowded long. What does that mean? Well, especially given the high close and following liquidation sessions, I'm a little bit biased to the S&P and Nasdaq falling apart. The IWM, the Russell continuing to fall apart, and maybe some sort of short squeeze occur on the Dow if it's not weighed down too heavily by all the other indices falling apart. In other parts of the market, you've got gold rallying quite a bit on Friday, likely due to the minimal long positions or perhaps even short positions in gold that getting a large rally. So that kind of gives an overview of where the entire market is at. This week we have a ton of FOMC speakers. Monday, Harker. Wednesday, Harker again. Thursday, JPOW. Friday, again, Harker. Other than that, you got kind of mildish news for the most part throughout the week. Existing homes, unemployment, Empire State, Beige Book, all that sort of minor stuff. So I I would hesitate to try and create any sort of large risk positions at this moment. I just with the war looming and all this FOMC crap, all these speakers, and it just the market, in my opinion, is not in the most clearest of directions. I wouldn't be looking to swing along the S&P or the Qs, but I'd be aware of the Dow's potentially squeezing. I'd be aware of the Russell falling apart. Well, let's get into tomorrow's stuff here. S&P. I'm going to be using the weekly close and settlement lows as some sort of pivot. If we open above that, I'll be bidding quite aggressively against last week's low. I'll probably be bidding somewhere around this 428.5 area. To the upside, if we open above last week's close and settlement lows, I'll be looking for us to get maybe somewhere around there, 420, 434.5. Not sure what that corresponds to on the S&P. If we do end up breaking the open here, maybe I should actually make this into a little zone for you guys. Maybe something like this, right? Maybe that, maybe something like this makes sense. There we go. That looks pretty decent, right? I don't know. maybe something like that. That's a large sell zone. That must be 20 points. Yeah, it's a big, big zone. Maybe we do find some sellers somewhere in here. This 433 and a half to 435 area, even if we do open above. But if we start trading above the open here, above yesterday's open, I'll be looking for us to take out the previous day's highs, settlement open, and maybe even close this gap up here. I would turn it into a seller upon that gap close for a move back inside. Qs not too different, using last week's close as the pivot area, open above, and I'm looking to get long against the lows of the week. That Monday low over there, or kind of this balance area. Up above, I am a little bit short biased, whether that's settlement lows or the VWAP close or yesterday's highs and all that sort of stuff. I'd be a bit more aggressive on the short side on the Nasdaq, given how aggressively it was selling off on Thursday and Friday. That's all I really got. I don't see the higher time frames extremely clearly. I am short. Short at Monday's Wednesday's low price, so I'm short 433ish and a quarter. I got stopped out yesterday, I think, for minus half R at the open or something. I got back in when we took out this low, got back in at 433ish, and then we crapped out into the close. So I think you could get about another day of selling, but beyond that, I struggle to really see this much very clearly on a higher time frame. Not much help, but I hope it gives you something. Anyway, have a great night, and trade safe if you are trading futures. I think they've gapped up, gap inside of range, but far away from the settlement close or whatever. 52 and a quarter, I think, on the ES. It's trading. The open was 56s, and we're just kind of ramping upwards. So I would look for that to close. Most of these futures price gaps do close, so I'd look for us to get into 43.50 or lower tonight. Hope that helps. Have a great night. Trade safe.